Hi everybody, this is a video that's going to go over creating a character or importing an existing character into Release 19. What happens, what data you'll see, what you still need to do as usual. So I've just loaded up a Release 19 campaign here. The key thing is to have the Pathfinder 2nd Edition core rules open because it's going to try and import the data for existing characters, and it'll also be using that to create the default activities as well if you create a new character or if you import another character. Looking at the activities list, there's this flag called auto create, and basically anything that has a 1 next to it in there has a flag within that activity that when you create a new character or open a prior to release 19 character, this auto create flag is going to create this activity for you automatically. These are all the standard activities, such as skill-based activities like you can see here: climb, coerce, balance, things like that, and also kind of standard activities that you get in an encounter. If we just actually have a look through here, there's encounter activities, so erase, burrow, crawl, delay, drop, prone, escape, grab an edge, ready, raise a shield, all of those kind of things that are in here. Exploration activities that are in there, downtown activities, not very many of those. Skill activities, all of those main ones that are all related to skills that previously you could have had a look up through the actual skill item in your character sheet. It would tell you the various things that you could actually do based off that. Within that skill, you could climb, force open, grapple, but there was nothing related to it. There was no buttons to click or anything like that. Obviously, you could have just made the skill check, but that's kind of previously where all the information was. Now it's still there, but it's also in these activities. So let's just have a look at that by creating a new character. So we're in Release 19, we're creating a new character, we have the core rules open. It's going to create that character with all of the activities that are set to be auto-created. So this can take a few seconds. The first, when you do it, you add the item in, it's going to create that character. The usual thing, you get your charge end tracker, you get your character up. And if you go to activities, the first time you go here, it's got a lot of data to go through and populate. You're going to see all of these activities within that character sheet. You can filter these by typing in, perhaps somebody asks you to make a recall knowledge check. I was obviously failing my recall knowledge check there, but I could not remembering that. So there's a very handy search bar down the bottom there that you can just type in a few letters and press return. If you wanted to bring up climb quickly, you could bring that up as well. I'm not going to go through this in much detail in this video because I'll be going through all of the details of this tab in another video. But this was just to show you that, hey, I can create a character. It's going to auto-populate all of these, and then as I go through actually creating a character, I know that one of the dwarven heritages, I think it's the ancient blooded dwarf, has this has an activity linked to it. So if I add ancient blooded dwarf, it's going to add that activity automatically. So we can just see that now it's made a feat activity call on ancient blood. Actually, in the character sheet here with more details about that activity. And that's basically, you get a +1 status bonus until the end of this turn. So here, save 1, circumstance against magic, 1 round until the end of the current turn. So that's just an example of how things get auto-populated from the test data that's in the core RPG module. Now, what about a new existing character? So this is something that obviously I want people to have a look at in testing to see if we can refine or improve, or even if there are any issues with the data conversion. Because currently what the data conversion is going to do, it's going to look at your character features that are on your abilities tab. It's going to look at the feats that are on your abilities tab. It's going to look at a subset of the like rules and abilities that are on your character abilities tab, and it's going to go through the items in your inventory, and it's all going to have, as it goes through all of those, it's going to see, hey, is there any updated data, is there any activities to link into these? So I just want to go through and people just to test that and make sure that works. It does create a copy of your original character, so you can always go back to that original character in case something breaks or something like that. So don't worry about it destroying your data. And of course, if you've migrated a campaign over from live into test, all of your data is still going to be in live as well. So hopefully, this is all pretty risk-free going through this test. So I don't have any release 19 characters in here currently, but what I've done is I've activated the PFS2 official pre-gens module, which is available for free on the Forge, and I'm going to import a couple of those pre-generated characters so we can just have a look at that process. I'm going to import Valeros. This import process can take a few seconds, then pre-generated character added campaign. And I'm going to import Harsk as well, one of the rangers. I'll import just the first level character of that so you can see the process. So they've been imported in here, and I'll go through Valeros first. So if I click on Valeros, it's going to open Valeros. Here is character sheet. And it's going through, it's loading up those default activities in the background as well, so it can take a few seconds just to open there. It's doing a lot of database activity, and what it's going to do, it's going to recognize that this character is not a release 19 character. There's a flag that's going to be added to this character for future. So this is saying, do you want to upgrade this to release 19? If you continue, a copy of the PC will be made. Only a copy will be made if you're the GM. If you're a player upgrading this, it won't make a copy because the players can't make copy of characters. And the message will be different for the players. It will tell them, hey, it's not going to make a copy. If you want a copy, exit this and export to XML, or ask your GM to make a copy and things like that. So there is additional messaging around that for the player just to tell them, hey, you're not going to have a copy made. And there is this note here as well: ensure the core rules is activated before continuing, because we need all of the new data in the core rules to put, overwrite the data that's currently in the character sheet for the pre-release 19. If you exit out of here, it won't do the update, and you can do it via a right-click menu in the charge end tracker if you want, or you can click on that now and do it yourself now. So I'll click on that again. It will probably take a few seconds to run through this character sheet. So it's got to go through all of those data nodes. It's got to go through all of the data in the core rules to try and find matches. We're matching off names. So basically, we're going to go through everything in the abilities tab here. So we're going to look at all the feats that are currently open on the system. So the more library data you have open, the longer that might take. It's going to exit with the first one it finds. So it's going to go through that. It's going to go through all the class features. That should be fairly quick because it's just looking at your class. And it's going to go through lookup data and ancestry records down here as well to pre-populate data, new release 19 data of, based off records that match there. This will only be done once. If for some reason you feel you want to do it again, or you press the X button when you're initially prompted, you can come into your charge end tracker, and there's an option here, release 19 update PC. Click on that, and it would run through it again, basically run through that update again. So you always can come and do it again. You won't be prompted to run through the update again, whether you pressed the tick or the cross for the update. So we're through there, we've done that, we've done the update. So what's actually happened as part of this? So like the standard character that we just created before from scratch, it's going to create all of the standard activities. So we see all of the skill activities that we have available here, the encounter activities, the exploration activities, downtown activities. It's created all of those, but it's created some item activities, some class activities, and some feat activities of that actual, based off the data that it's gone through. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually bring this, press Alt and press the Activities tab to make a floating window of activities. You can do that for all of the windows except inventory and abilities, because that creates some issues with the built-in automation. So I'm just going to take the activities out, and then we're going to go through and have a look at what's been created. So we've looked at the ability, we looked at the feats, so let's have a look at those first. Feat activities. We can see it's created a feat activity for double slice, for reactive shield, and for shield block. It hasn't created one for natural ambition, because that was actually used to create reactive shield, and athletics assurance 18. There's no real way of automating that at this point in time. Doing just a straight assurance 13 for all your athletics checks. So those are the three that it's actually brought over. Basically, it will do two things for feats. It will look for a feat in the data record, and pull that out and use that feat data. And also, if the feat actually has a activity or an action assigned to it, like this one has a reaction, it will create a activity based off the data that's in this feat. So even if there's not any release 19 data in there, it should at least make an effort to create a base entry and activities. It won't have any actions or anything like that. It won't have any of these roles or effects or things, but it will have it in here, and you can track all of your actual actions that you can carry out in this activities pane, rather than going around, do I have an attack of opportunity, doing how many actions is double slice. You can see it here, it's 2 actions. So that's brought that in. It's brought in attack of opportunity as well from the class features, and also it went through the inventory and it found that we had 1 elixir of life. So you can see that here. It's brought in the elixir of life. It's got the heal and the item bonus to saves against poisons and diseases. And it's got a track of the number of elixirs of life that you actually have there. So if I, buy some more, you'll see that now that actually changes that entry there. And also when I click the actual button that has a notice that this has got apply use tagged to the second button, that's going to reduce the number of uses. So normally when you do something like this, you just need to be aware of what has apply use tagged to it, which if you hover over something, it will. Normally you go from the left to the right, and the last button's the apply use. So normally, you'd apply healing to yourself, you'd apply an effect to yourself, and when you apply the effect to yourself, it reduces the number of uses. It's gone down from 1. Healing doesn't reduce that, but the apply use effect does. This is the last elixir of life I've got in my inventory, so when I use this, it's going to actually remove that item from my inventory. So then I'd have to add it again in future, things like that. If you're the type of person who regularly buys them, maybe just remove that apply use entry and track it manually, so that it doesn't actually remove it when you get down to 0 there. So all of the other activities are all through here. Everything else has been brought in. You can look through. There will be some messages in here about it. What's it done as it's gone through stuff, and populate that data. It will also have populated your proficiencies based off the data from your initial character class. So if you've gone up at levels and you've got high proficiencies, you may just have to change the trained level on these proficiencies appropriately. So I'll just go through another version of those. I'll go through importing Valoros. So notice, because I'm the GM, it created a copy. So Valoros first is the upgraded version. The copy is the release 18 version. If I opened that now, it would prompt me to upgrade it again and make another copy. So if you kept opening these, you'd get copy, all sorts. Basic copy just keeps getting added to the name. So now I'm going to open Hask. Yeah, it just takes a couple of seconds to kind of populate the initial activities data that's going to be presented into that character sheet. So yeah, I'll just say yes to that, and it's going to make a copy of the character sheet, so that can take a little while to do that, and then it's going to go through and pass through all of the data as well. That's come back, and if you just have a look at the abilities, there's crossbow ace, dwarven weapon familiarity, things like that. There's hunt prey, hunter's edge flurry. These are interesting ones because these now have additional effects within here that weren't in release 18, that could have been made in release 18, but they've been updated with release 19 data, so we've gone through and we've repopulated this information. So that's actually populated a few effects in here. One, the hunt prey is hunt prey. Notice it's substituted the character's name into this, so if there's multiple hunt prey effects in the combat tracker, it will differentiate them based off the character's name. We've got a Rage Inc. 2 mod, so we've got actually, some of the new range calculation effects automatically in here now as well. Hunter's Edge Flurry means if somebody's our prey, they've got a mark on them essentially, then the multi-attack penalty is -3, not or -2, not -5 or -4 as it normally would be. Strong-blooded dwarfs come in as well, and we just released one poison there. Other activities that have actually been created for us. We can have a look at those now. He's got an Elixir of Life as well. He's got Hunt Prey as a ranger activity, and there's a few kind of various different effects related to this, and this is where the new how to use information can come in handy. It's going to give you a bit of information about, hey, how do you use these various effects here to make my actual hunt prey work properly. With all of this new automation and everything else, you can use it or not. If you want to handle it manually, absolutely no problem at all. You'll probably use these activities more for reference. Okay, hunt prey's one actual action, or maybe as you're going through a combat and you just want to have a look at the encounters, but you've only got one action left. You can click the wrong thing. You can just filter and just show just one and three actions, just to get an idea of, hey, what actions could I actually carry out? If you were stuck for an action to do, just to help you filter down and see what's actually available to you. If you want to use all of the automation, great. Or start off baby steps, don't use it, and then once you get used to it, as you and your players get used to it, start using it as well. I'll do a video in more detail of how the activities work, some of the kind of terminology here. We've got a new wiki page that's a work in progress, so it's not on the FG Wiki site, but that link will take you to a Google Doc with information on the how to use stuff. Still a few areas to fill out in here. This will be filled out, but it gives you feedback on some of the various new pieces of functionality, and how to use an item, and item use activities and things like that. So that's something that will get filled out and can be very handy to people who might not be very familiar with using some of these more advanced features such as targeting and applying actions and things like that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and look out for some more videos around this. Bye.